Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features Uncanny X-Men 258, cover dated February 1990. So this is the third part of a three-part storyline or trilogy tied in with the company-wide Acts of Vengeance crossover storyline from winter 1989 into the early months of 1990. The whole concept of Acts of Vengeance was to pit villains against different heroes than usual. In this case, it's the Mandarin, who's normally an Iron Man villain, that is pitted against a different Metal Man, and that is Wolverine here. Finally, we get to the showdown between Mandarin and Wolverine. Wolverine, of course, having that adamantium-laced skeleton. So a pretty stunning cover here by Jim Lee and Scott Williams. No real copy on the cover, just the image speaks for itself. And so I'll open this one up, and here we have our opening splash page, which is a finely rendered version of Wolverine in a meditation pose. And what we see here is a collaboration once again between Jim Lee and Scott Williams. Last issue 257, the inker was Joseph Rubinstein, who also was an inker of Jim Lee's on Punisher War Journal. But this collaboration between Lee and Williams is beginning to gel now. And also one can see, looking back at 248, 256, 257, Jim Lee's style, his own ability developing in leaps and bounds. So the creative team here for the issue is Chris Claremont as ever writer, Jim Lee penciler, Scott Williams inker, Tom Orzechowski letterer, and Glynis Oliver colorist. So what's going on here is that Wolverine is contained in this sensory deprivation chamber, the same one that was used on Psylocke in Uncanny X-Men 256. And what's happening is the Hand, under the command of Matsuo Tsurayaba here, is attempting to turn Wolverine just as they turned Psylocke and make Wolverine an agent of the Hand. So it's tough going. Wolverine is battling psychically Psylocke's attempt to infiltrate his mind. Jubilee is present as well, and she's deeply upset at what's going on and how Wolverine is being hurt. And what's happening is that we're getting a visual representation of Wolverine's corruption, or the attempted corruption of him, with these boils, these ugly suppurating bursting boils on his body, and this maniacal grin on his face as he's fighting and attempting to block the psychic attack on his soul. And we have this apparent success of Psylocke and the Hand, and this representation here in this panel of a bestial Wolverine. Jubilee, as I said, is deeply upset by what's going on, and she uses her plasma energy fireworks to escape from Tsuryaba's clutches. And as she does so, she encounters or bumps into the Mandarin. And we see here Scott Williams' use of geotone to render the fabric of the Mandarin's jacket. Anyway, the Mandarin stops Jubilee, and he determines to take her on and give and ensure that she has proper behavior. He's using his Mandarin ring that gives him mental control, Mento intensifier ring over Jubilee. Then the Hand attack him, and what happens here is it's a kind of a sort of a misunderstanding, where Tsurayaba had sent the Hand after Jubilee, and now they attack the Mandarin, and Tsurayaba deeply apologizes for that mix-up here. Then we have a interlude, a scene at Muir Isle, where Banshee is testing the defences that Forge has built for the island, and Moira MacTaggart's laboratory there. He proves unsuccessful, so the judgment is the security defences are up to scratch. And we also get this little scene where Lauren Dane has gone missing, but in fact she is imprisoned in this cell where they think Legion is residing, but Legion has gotten free, and he's showing up here in the guise of one of his multiple identities, Jack Wayne, as he says, who's this kind of trickster identity that is planning something for Muir Isle. So Claremont here is setting up what is going to be a future storyline in these pages. Then we switch back to Hong Kong, and we have Jubilee in traditional Chinese dress, because this is the Mandarin's plan for her. He's going to bring her up properly as a daughter of the Middle Kingdom, and she's going to be one of his vanguard of mutant warriors who's going to help him restore the honor and power of China. And interesting to note here, a nice little color hold in the background. So a little bit of extra work on this page. Also the duotone here in the background behind Psylocke, making her figure pop there. And then we go into Wolverine's psyche once again, where Psylocke is attempting to seduce him in the figure of significant women from his past. Jean Grey there, Marvel Girl, Mariko Yoshida, and also Yukio, who featured in the Wolverine miniseries 1982 by Claremont and Frank Miller. So Wolverine doesn't fall for it. He attacks her, and then Psylocke is revealed as being behind it all. They fight, and Psylocke uses her psychic knife to attack Wolverine mentally with greater force. But the feedback from that attack injures her, as we see here, and meanwhile Wolverine wakes up in the sensory deprivation tank, and also those figments of his imagination, Carol Danvers and Nick Fury, who appeared last issue, are back and seem to be able to physically fight Psylocke here. Wolverine starts slashing at the glass of the tank, breaks free. The hand moved to recapture him, but Nick Fury, Wolverine's figment of imagination, starts blasting away at the hand and weirdly impacting them. Then we have this cool anchor image here of Wolverine ready to battle the hand ninjas. Psylocke jumps from the top of the tank, and they're going to fight, and then the scene switches to the Mandarin's residence in Hong Kong, and seemingly Psylocke has beaten Wolverine. Jubilee's upset by that, and she, in her rage and grief, lets rip with a tremendous firework, something that she didn't expect she had the ability to create or do, and it's heard miles away. And as she thinks to herself, where did that come from? And like, do I ever want to do it again? So this is Claremont hinting at Jubilee's powerful potential as she grows up into the future. And then Psylocke attacks the Mandarin, who dons his armor to battle her. They fight. She is attempting to skewer him with her psychic knife, the focused totality of her telepathic power. And what happens here is that she's using her telepathy to get the Mandarin to turn his rings on himself. And as they're battling away with their respective willpowers, Wolverine sneaks in from behind, pops his two claws around the Mandarin's neck, and of course the third one is pressing at the back of his head. and so now we have a standoff as in terms of how this is going to conclude. So Wolverine and Mandarin work out a deal, an accommodation between two men of honor, and so they go their separate ways. And then we get this beautiful 2-page conclusion to the story. Great drawing here from Jim Lee of the boat out of Hong Kong Harbour. The colouring by Glynis Oliver here, amazing too, indicating the sunset. And we have this dialogue then between Jubilee and Wolverine. Jubilee doesn't trust Psylocke, and then Wolverine and Psylocke talk about how they should stick together and continue to seek out the other X-Men where they've disappeared to after going through the Siege Perilous. And who's hanging around except those ghost figment imaginations of Nick Fury and Carol Danvers there on the mast of the boat. So there you have it, the conclusion to the Acts of Vengeance trilogy, starring Psylocke and Wolverine. And it's quite an excellent storyline, and over the course of the 3 issues you really do see Jim Lee's artwork improve by leaps and bounds, as well as that collaboration, that synergy between Lee and Williams locking in at this point in their collaboration together as penciler and inker. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did so, please like the video, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel to be here for more content like this in future videos. So stay tuned.